For the final time in 2022, we are at Aston National for the 296th Rony's Tuesday Fun Race in Live for Speed, sponsored by World Class Lines. Tonight with another mod, the LILLIA-X GTR. You're watching Sim Broadcast on Twitch and YouTube. I'm Peter Butcher, and in the commentary box alongside me is Chris McElroy on the direction, and Eoin Harmon will be alongside me as a commentator for the final time this year. Eoin, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm keeping very well. And how are you?
Yeah, I'm really good. This has been quite the year. This is the final round of the second season of RTFR. We've had 20 races this year. Can't quite believe that it is the end of the year already, as I said. But here is the calendar of season 2. And, well, we've had a smattering of mods in this series. We started off with the LFS RM all the way back in August. And tonight we're with the LILLIA-X, which is a fantastic looking thing, which joins the GTR class in LFS.
Yeah, it's definitely early 21st century beauty. I really enjoy how it looks, and I can't wait to see how it drives as well.
Yeah, I've been watching it throughout the qualifying sessions so far. We've got about 7 minutes left of that tonight, but here it is in all of its glory by Ivan CSX, the LILLIA-X GTR 3.6 litre V8 rear-wheel drive car weighing just over a ton with 500 brake horsepower. It's a beast, and it's been homologated to sit well within the GTR class in Live for Speed. So this is somewhat of a showcase for the car because, well, I guess we will hope to see this car being used in multi-class racing alongside the other GTR cars in LFS at some point, Eoin, if it puts on a nice show tonight. It has all the potential. It's a great looking thing. It sounds good as well, and it looks like it handles pretty much the same as some of the GTR cars we have already. So it's not going to be that much different for the drivers, but it's a new mod, a new car for them to enjoy.
Yeah, that's very much it. The variety of mods, that's what we appreciate. So many creative minds and skillful talents able to put these mods together since we've opened, or LFS have opened up the availability of third-party mods. So yeah, it's great to see that people have all different interests and letting them express themselves through the game.
This event is a bit of a throwback to the old AMG GTR service, if anyone remembers that from the olden times. AS3 is the stadium for the finale of the RTFR action in 2022, and we're going to have 19 laps around this track, which is basically an oval for these GTR cars. Very, very little to do other than a couple of hairpins and a chicane. It's a bit more involved than that, Owen, but I do simplify. But 10 turns, and it's basically a draft fest. You have a massive drafting opportunity up the home straight to turn 1, and then again down towards turn 4, and then towards turn 7. It's a lot of fun, and it's going to be action-packed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the field will be bunched up courtesy of that last chicane and the long straight. Won't be very easy to get away, and the variety of corners as well will keep people challenged throughout the middle sector.
Here are the championship standings. Rick Cardle has a lot to do. He is 2 points behind his teammate, and it looks like he has all of the work to do. Bear with us. We do not know. We're just verifying whether this table is the correct table. Let's come back to this, Owen, and we will look at some qualifying action in the meantime. Apologies for that, but yeah, we will see what's going out on the track and then update you with the championship standings before we go live for the race. So, Owen, here is the LILLIA-X GTR in all its glory, and well, what a stunning looking thing.
Yeah, it looks like it's quite large, but at the same time, the dimensions, they can certainly be deceiving. You'll see it in the long shot here. You can see it's small wheelbase, but it's definitely got huge rear wing, for example, and they'll be able to get side by side, I'm sure. As we look at the times, the championship permutations, Gabor and Rickardle front row. They'll be competing for some bonus points here, as we have nearly a full capacity grid, and based on who gets pole position, they'll be rewarded with some points.
Yeah, so while qualifying happens in the background, we are going to go through the driver championship standings. The table we had was correct. We were just verifying it before we read it out. Rick Cardle does have the challenge today, Owen. He's 2 points behind his teammate Gabor, and with more than 30 cars on this grid, the live calculations will become somewhat challenging for us, because if there are more than 30 cars on the track, then we have to take into account the 2 fastest laps in the race. The fastest lap of the race gets 2 points, and the second fastest lap gets 1 point. And then the points difference between positions is just 1 point, so it becomes a little bit more complicated. If Gabor wins outright, then we can pretty much stamp him as the winner. But if not, then it becomes a little bit more complicated. Unite is out of the running, really, in P3, as we see Gabor smash through the tyre barriers in the background there. And we'll have to restart that lap. He hasn't got long to go, though. Unite P3, Yoni Katila P4, Pragmaster's Fatal P5, Thamuli P6, Rony P7, Magic P8, Lorenzo P9, and Ona rounds out our top 10. And we'll let these results slide through and thank all of the drivers who have competed in the second season of RTFR in 2022. There are a lot of them, Owen, and we always like to show them all because it's worth mentioning the drivers that have scored at least a point.
Indeed, that is very true. As we've seen from the calendar, it's been an on-running series since August, and the fact that people are getting ready to wrap up for the end of 2022, it's still nice to reflect on a good job through all of these names, whether they have the championship contention or, as we see, the 76 name there, they have 1 valid point. So it's wonderful that everyone has had a chance, and whether they came in at the beginning, the middle, or the end, or anything in between, that's really, really respected from me anyway. So well done, everyone.
As it stands in the qualifying session, Owen, it looks as though Gabor will extend his championship lead by 1 point. So that number will be 1 point larger, or 1 point ahead, I guess, of Rick Cardle after we factor in the qualifying results. So that's rather interesting.
Yeah, it's even more intense. The fact that sometimes we feel maybe it's a foregone conclusion what happens in qualifying, but given that so many drivers are very close, and in Rick Cardle's case, he must try to get that pole position away from his teammate. That is so crucial, and it may come back to be reflected upon at the end. Was that the moment the title was won or lost?
Absolutely. Well, we're going to find out. Here is Gabor. He's winding up for one more lap. He's just coming up to the final chicane. And, let's get an onboard lap around here with him in the precious seat moment. He's got a car just crashing ahead of him. That's going to have put him off as he heads on the onto his lap. That was Rick, actually, his teammate, which might actually spur him on a bit, Owen, as we go over start-finish. A long run down to turn 1. He's got a car joining in front of him, which may or may not get in his way. He'll have the headlights on to try and get that car out of the way and ensure he gets a fast lap. But let's see. He doesn't want to be caught in the dirty air of this car as he heads through turn 1, which he will be affected now by the dirty air of that car, but it is moving over to the right-hand side. Long sweeping corner. A lot of cars are going to drop a wheel in that gravel trap and spur off into the tyre barrier, Owen. It's a classic place for drivers to make an error. As we head down to turn number 4, this is the first hard braking zone on the lap, and this is going to be down all the gears to second gear, I believe. They'll be taking this hairpin in, and it's a bit of an oversteer moment. He catches it before the apex, which is crucial. Then we head down to turn 5. This is a really tricky corner. We've got a car stuck in the gravel reversing onto the track. No problem for Gabor. Stamps on the throttle again over this little bit of a bump there, and then he can focus now on the final hairpin of the lap. A very, very tricky corner, but it is cambered. You do have to know you're braking, or you are going to go wide and lose a whole load of time. Got to be careful with throttle application when you come out of the corner, because too much and you will drop a wheel on the gravel trap on the outside, or rather the grass on the outside over the back of the curb, and that's going to slow you down even more. on the run down to the final chicane. Nicely in for Gabor. A little bit of correction at the apex and doesn't run it wide. He does have another car ahead of him. This hasn't been a pleasant lap for Gabor, especially on his final run. And as we head over the final couple of curbs, he goes through the tyres again, and that will be an abort. But that was a difficult lap for his final attempt. Luckily, it's going to be enough, I think, for pole position. Gabor will start this championship, this final round, the way he wants to, on pole position. Our final car is just coming around the corner, I think. It will be Michael Malek, who's just coming into the chicane at the end of the lap. So this will be a very short wait before we can run down the full grid for this round, this race, which looks like it's going to have 37 cars in it, which is a great number for our final race.
Yeah, it's very impressive. Michael does improve to 29th position at the last gasp there.
And here it is. The top two on our Drivers' Championship table are repeated here again for the qualifying results. Gabor sets a blistering time of 1:39.98, only 0.03 of a second faster than his teammate Rick Cardle, ahead of Fragmaster's Fatal. Sidus Altsu joins the Sidus trio at the top of the standings here. TJ Ferroda Praiser in P5, Antti Valter returning in P6. Pickard there in P7. Good to see him back. Then it's Asker in P8. Unite down in P9, you would have hoped for better, and Ona in P10. Pekka Koivunen in P11, Texas in P12, Igor, Number, Lorenzo, T-Bug, Falcon, Nozzle, Thamuli, and Soini, your top 20.
Looking at the second half of the grid, it's Rony in 21st position, followed by Luke, 3Jump, and Tallenberg there. Then from 25th, we have Elias, Yari Katela, Yanni SVK, Magic, Michael, Justin. And 31st down, we've LG Meese, Richard, Karamba Tom, Jam 616, South, Sergio, and Jen or Mouse.
Yeah, a name returning there, Genuine Racing's Mouseman LV, a name familiar to anyone who was around a few years ago. A bit of a surprise entry there in P37, hoping probably to improve in his position there for sure. Pretty fast driver back in the day, and well, this is quite a grid here in 37 cars, and I don't know, who would you rather be off the line? You've got Rick Cardle following Gabor down to turn one. He's going to have a mammoth slipstream off the back of that car, and might have the advantage going into turn one. What do you think?
Yeah, that could be the case, but I suppose Gabor, if he's confident with his launch, I think he'd be okay. If he has that inside line covered, he might be within his capabilities of defending the place, but yeah, could be very, very action-packed with the title on the line.
It will indeed, and what a finale to have. The throwback race that we've been waiting for quite a while, the AMG GTR inspired event we have on today with a mod. So bringing this combination into the 21st century again. 19 laps around AS3, the Oval of Aston, which we like to call it, in the GTRs. 5.6 kilometers, 3.5 miles, with 10 challenging corners, but the action is going to happen into the hairpins on the brakes, or on as a result of a slipstream battle up the straights. It's going to be plenty of drama, and we need to keep an eye on our top two here. Unite in P9 is slightly out of the running for the championship, but what a machine to do it in, a machine that pretty much will be new to everybody, the LILLIA-X GTR. Which so far looks pretty good, it has to be said.
Yeah, the drivers must enjoy it. It's looked fairly planted to the racetrack, and times, for the most part, are very consistent. A lot of drivers within 3 seconds of the pole sitter. That goes all the way down to about 29th place. So yeah, I think the drivers feel very optimistic about this car, and they'll be able to race it competitively.
Yeah, so the top two showdown that we've been waiting for, we thought that it could be written after the last round, but it came down to the final round yet again, and what a battle between the two teammates. This really is going to be gloves off. They're 0.03 of a second apart in qualifying, which is a really great effort from those two. And it's going to be a grandstand finish. Fatal will, of course, want to go for glory. Altsu likewise. I don't think we're going to see Altsu getting involved with his teammates, but that could hamper them eventually. He's going to have to be the defense from Fatal, really. He's going to have to let the two ahead of him fight and try and hold Fatal up so that Fatal can't, mess with them too much. I guess that's probably reasonable to assume. But yeah, Unite will be a bit gutted that he's not closer. He's a second off, pretty much, of Gabor's pole time. He would have liked to have had a showing in this final round for sure, but it does look like a solid P3 for him in the championship, which is good in its own right. Don't forget, of course, that it is World Class Lions who are sponsoring the prizes for the RTFR and RTFR XL championships, and the winner of the Drivers' Championship here will get some prize money, along with other drivers further down the grid. Very generous, of course, from World Class Lions. 3 minutes to go before lights out here at Aston National. And let's take one more look at that all-important driver championship table before we get going, because it's a table you all need to remember. And Gabor will have extended his championship lead just after this qualifying session. Rick Cardle behind there now by with a 3-point gap.
Yeah, it is so close, very difficult to call. But Gabor does have that slight buffer that if he can stick to the one position behind Rick, then he should be reasonably safe. Rick will be doing everything he can to make sure he gets the fastest laps in the race and get those 2 bonus points to make it very, very feisty in the end.
Yeah, we are going to hang around, aren't we? I think afterwards to work out exactly what the Drivers' Championship looks like, so that we can give you as solid a confirmation as we're able to here in the commentary box, because we always like to do that on the final round of the race. We've covered this will be the 20th round of RTFR we've covered this year. Of course, we covered all 12 of the RTFR XL races this year as well. Quite a packed RTFR schedule, but it's definitely been a year to remember. We've had some absolutely fantastic races all throughout the season, and of course, with the introduction of mods, it's made everything a little bit more interesting. The drivers have to get up to speed with a brand new car, potentially every week, and then they're put to the test in the toughest environments of them all in RTFR. And tonight is no exception. The LILLIA-X GTR. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a couple of minutes for the start. Welcome back to the start of the race. We have lights on, Owen, and we are about to get going for the start. There we go. The drivers are off, and our 36 Lilia-X GTRs thunder their way down to turn 1 Aston National, and it is side-by-side action as we predicted from Gabor on the right and Rick Cardle now in the purple machine swinging into the slipstream, Owen.
Yeah, this is what you talked about, Pete, the slipstream effect. And Rick on the outside, that was Gabor just trying to stay stable on the inside. They're continuing to stay alongside each other, and Fatal wants to spot the gap in the middle. He has to lift. So advantage here to Rick. He will have the inside for the left-hand turn, braking hard now very soon. And there's Fatal still in the middle. Could this pull off?
Yeah, he has, and he's shuffling Gabor down the order. Gabor is not going to be enjoying this. He's watching points disappear, and he's down to 4th place as it currently stands.
Oh, contact!
Contact between Rick and Fatal as Pickard on the outside there is trying to get Gabor down into 4th place, and it looks like it's working. Pickard is still alongside Gabor, and he's blocking Gabor from pulling out of the slipstream of Fatal here, which is holding Gabor up even more. Side-by-side action behind between Unite and TJ. Unite's up 4 places to P5. And still side-by-side go Fatal and Gabor. And this is giving Rick Cardle a great advantage.
Yeah, very handy advantage with Fatal now in between the Sidus cars. It really means that Gabor has to plot his moves very carefully, because with Pickard here now having that slipstream advantage, it means that Gabor, it just puts an immense pressure on him. Any more points lost, and that could be the championship decided. Now he will slipstream Fatal. Could be a pure swap here. And yes, Gabor has moved through, and a slide for Pickard.
Oh, this is so important. This is so important. Pickard and Fatal both dropping a wheel. Fatal more into the gravel, and that pretty much neutralizes the battle. The only person left to threat Gabor will be Jonathan Pickard, and he's got trouble of his own. He's got TJ to deal with now, and Unite also in a fight. Sorry, Altsu there. Unite not with a good start. Unite down to 24th now currently. Altsu, the other Sidus driver, making moves, currently in P4.
Yeah, that's dreadful news for Unite there. Must have had a really poor start. Rony has actually had to pit for repairs, so he's down the back, and there's a contact. Fatal
and T-Bug
hit T-Bug.
Yeah, so Fatal now has to recover from P11, and that is going to be a lot of hard work that he's going to have to do over the next 18 laps, as we've got Altsu going side by side with Pickard for Mercury Racing. And well, this car is a handful on the brakes and a handful on the power, squirreling around as much as you like on the corner exit there. And Altsu seems to be up to P3 and looking to make a bit of a break on the Mercury Racing car behind.
Yeah, I suppose this race setup has changed the behavior of the car quite a bit. Qualifying, I didn't notice too many problems when the drivers kept it on the actual tarmac, but the grass, yeah, there were cases where the car would get slidey. Now we have that's Pickard getting back ahead of Altsu, who will want to do his teammates a bit of a dig out here to make sure there's nothing that can divide them. So TJ has caught up since that first lap wide he had near the end of the lap. So yeah, this is a fascinating start, but yeah, Rick is just doing everything he can. His priority should be to hang on to that fastest lap, though.
It will be indeed, as Pickard goes a bit wide here on the down into turn 4, and that's going to potentially give Altsu some more hope that he can get back past in the slipstream. All of these drivers from 4th through to about 6th using the same livery here, which is a bit confusing. This is TJ for Road Appraiser, currently in P5, and it's Anti-Valter in this pink livery who is trying to get back onto the back of this trio, but Jordan Pickard currently leading the cars up the hill.
Yeah, just see if there's any comparison a bit later on the brakes. There was Altsu. that just fine. Yeah, so Pickard looks very handy at the moment. It's unfortunate Gabor is probably going to be lapping a bit quicker than him with that free space. But yeah, Altsu will just harry Pickard as hard as he can.
Yeah, Jonathan Pickard in P3, but having the race of the battle of the race so far down to P4, and it's Altsu again who, swapping positions. And this is the sort of racing that we come to expect at AS3 with the GTRs, as Pickard gets it all wrong in the braking zone, a little bit too close to the back of Altsu when he committed to the brake pedal there, and got it all wrong, and now he is vulnerable from TJ.
Unfortunately, Fatal has spectated after a crash, so we're down. He's actually rejoined the circuit, but he'll be several laps down. TJ through against Pickard, but Pickard wants the immediate retribution. Oh, and that's retribution and a half. It's contact, sending Pickard deep into the gravel.
Yeah, he's stuck. That's it. It's game over. He's not going to get out of there in a hurry. Meanwhile, back at the front, a 2.5 second gap has emerged between Rickardle and Gabor. And this means that as it stands, it's going to be super, super tight in the championship. Yeah, so Gabor has got everything to do. He's got to pull out all of the stops.
We're looking at Gabor here. He has a slight advantage over his teammate now. Sidus should have this 1, 2, 3. This should be fairly comfortable now for the Sidus guys. Altsu doesn't need to catch his teammate. TJ is probably 2 seconds behind there, thereabouts 1.5. So yeah, this looks like new fastest lap there from Rick, 1 minute 40.82. Gabor needs to be the second fastest driver on the track to reduce that bonus point advantage. So it is very close.
Yeah, Gabor is currently the second fastest car on the track. I know he's third fastest now. We'll have to work it out at the end of the race, of course. We're not going to know until the end. But if it did finish as it is right now, it would be a dead tie, and we'd have to do a count back, which is more complicated even still. So these two really are that level at the moment. So we're going to have to work out right at the very end who is champion if it finishes the way it is right now. Rick will win the tie break if it is a tie. So there we go. Confirmation from Chris in the background that we think Rick Cardle will win the overall championship if it is a tie at the end of the race, which it is at the moment as it stands. Altsu in P3. Any of the other drivers can take the fastest lap, remember, and that changes the outcome at the top, even though those drivers can't really do anything else except drive as fast as they possibly can. This gap is going up and up and up, and another 0.2 of a second in the favour of Rick Cardle.
Yeah, this is a huge performance when it counts for Rick. Haven't seen him put a tyre wrong since he inherited that lead for himself. And there's Jari Katila, who is stuck just on the periphery of the track there. He's able to turn back to the right and see more cars overtake him. So it'll be a moment of regret there for Jari, but he'll proceed with 27th place. His teammate, though, Arska, has P6 all to himself. He's got no opposition, front or back, unless Texas has something up his sleeve. And then there's Igor in the lime green in 8th.
Yeah, Tilo was in the chat saying that it was going to be pack racing, and then he followed up by saying at least on lap 1, and I think that's actually true. These guys have strung out quite a lot straight away, so hopefully we get some bunching again, because at the moment we've got 32 cars pretty much apart. Well, these guys aren't apart, are they? Nozzle for race green. Nozzle's joined race green. There we go. There's a turnout. Bouncing off of cars as he rejoins, and he needs to be careful again. Almost collecting another car and drives off in sympathy. So that was 3 attempts to rejoin the track, thwarted, and now he's in the gravel, just keeps it out of the wall. We've got a battle around the T-Bug Thamuli area. Here we go. Thamuli for ZFRL in a livery that's been created for that car. Another nice ZFRL livery. Just going on the inside there of T-Bug. T-Bug using one of the default liveries that comes with this mod. T-Bug's still there on the inside. Thamuli will try and hang it around the outside. T-Bug makes contact. and that leaves 3 jump right behind him, I think. Oh no, 3 jump now in a battle with Falcon for race screen as we head up to the final hairpin. And it's Unite who is getting T-Bug, but as he does it, Owen, take it away.
I saw a bit of bumping. Unite was just desperate to get through, and then we saw him on the camera shot and rejoining here. He must have just overstepped a little bit. And we have Pickard again. His efforts to claw back some positions well and truly underway. So this is the pack racing we're hoping to see, and Thelo's prophecy is coming true for them. Anyway, and, there's a car sliding at the final chicane. It's Richard. Sorry to interrupt there. Richard hits the tires. South is in trouble as well. So a lot of frustrations boiling over. We see Tallenberg going side by side with Soini. Unite also wants to get by. What's going to happen? I think Timu may just hang on the curbing. Unite goes high. Yeah, there we go. That's a move complete for Unite. He's on the warpath.
Yeah, terrible start from Unite. He's surrounded by cars with all the same livery. He doesn't know who he's battling. Well, we certainly don't. We can't keep track of it when they're all using the same livery. It's Tallenberg up ahead for Master Race Car. And, well, Tallenberg is the next bit of prey for Unite, who's made it a little bit easier for us to identify him in this squabble. And he'll have a nice bout of slipstream then as he heads up towards the hairpin.
Very helpful to his cause. Which side will he pick, though? He's hugging the inside, putting 2 wheels on the grass at an extremely high speed. Just hitting 159 miles per hour now, so he would have been about 163 maybe on the grass. So without needing to brake check his opponent, he is through on a genuine pace there.
Yeah, he is indeed. And as we head down to the final chicane, he's going to hope that he has a smooth one because he wants to break that toe as we go to the next long straight. And he may have done just enough, I think, with that. T-Bug has crashed in the chicane or lost a lot of time in the chicane. He's got a bit of front left damage there, but still going, still on pace, so no big drama. The gap between Rick Cardle and Gabor seems to be pretty much stable around just under 2.5 seconds. But it is Altsu who is in P3 now, a solid P3 with about a 2-second gap in front and behind to TJ in 4th position. Then it's Anti-Valter in P5, keeping himself to himself, Anti-Valter, and just letting everyone else make mistakes around him just now. Asker in P6, then Texas in P7, Igor P8, Number in P9 in a fantastic looking Fragmasters livery, and then Pekka Koivunen in our top 10.
Yeah, it's a good rundown, a variety of teams and names. The tires left behind there. Rick got in between, so it's Justin who left them behind. Justin has a stop-go penalty, as a matter of fact, so he will have to, under all circumstances, get out of the way of the cars competing for the championship. So he has let Rick through. It's just Gabor needs to be able to catch up to benefit from those blue flags.
Gabor has the 2nd fastest lap, which means that as it stands, Rick Cardle will win the championship because it will be a tie on points, and Rick Cardle has more wins in the championship in Season 2 than Gabor. So unbelievable, Owen, how close these two are at the moment. Obviously, we'll confirm everything at the end. But yeah, as it stands, it's going to be very, very close between these two.
Yeah, it's just very confusing when it's such a live permutation. Things can be snapped away in an instant. But yeah, we'll definitely confirm things at the end for everybody. As things stand, Gabor is doing everything he can to just sneak in that championship. Tallenberg and Luke, they're going neck and neck into that slow left. Now for a similarly angled right. Luke has got the inside line. This attempt, big slides. He's caught them both, I believe. So position for Luke now. Then the rundown. It's going to feel like an eternity. Tallenberg is going to be very equal. So another fast lap for Rick. 1 minute 40.75. Tallenberg has the nose ahead. A slight tap. Just return to them now. I was continuing to watch. And there we go. It's actually Tallenberg through.
Yeah, Tallenberg leads this pair and will try and continue his pursuit as Luke gets a little bit tail happy coming out of the hairpin. That will unsettle him for the chicane. Let's see how the chicane goes for both these guys. Luke with a lot of front end damage there. I wonder if that's hurting him at all. He gets a good exit. He's going to be all the way under Tallenberg's rear wing. Well, hopefully he is. I mean, he's currently not using any of the slipstream. He thinks he can do this on pace. I don't think he can. Needs to tuck into the slipstream now. There he goes. A bit late though.
Could actually be right on time if he can block Tallenberg's progress. Has he done so? Sorry, that's Luke on the outside. Yeah, Luke goes too high, but Tallenberg slides up as well. It's impossible to gauge what is the outcome of this battle. But it's another momentum swing for Luke. And now there'll be another braking zone to negotiate, and they're sliding even in the gentle kink.
Oh my goodness me.
Tallenberg is going to have a huge crash.
Yeah, he's going to... Oh, there is actually a wall there, so that's helped him out. That hasn't removed him from the race. Normally you'd be removed from the race for driving down there, but that's going to be a lot of damage.
Yeah, it's a heavy angle to hit the wall. It would have slowed him down to a dead stop. But we'll see Igor having a brief meeting with Number, but Number is through. And actually, very good exit out of the final chicane for Igor. So
yeah,
he'll
Number's
be a
gone
lap
up one
through.
too many
Number
gears.
is going to be generous to get the counter attack. So don't celebrate just yet, Igor.
I feel like Number double shifted on the exit of the chicane. He had such low revs as he came out of there. I don't know whether that's characteristic of the car or not, but it sounded way too low in the rev range. Somehow he's managed to get it back a bit wide again. And this is just flashbacks to the race that inspired this combination, really. Well, the server, in fact, that inspired this combination, the AMG GTR server of old, which essentially just pitted all the GTRs together at AS3 constantly. And it was a good laugh, and it was just pack racing hour, every day of the week.
That sounds brilliant. We have Nussel out of the race. Tallenberg absolutely correct to pit that car for its repairs. There was a tap from Igor against Number, and another wobble out of that slow right-hander, so Number may have escaped for the moment. Let's see if I think from the drivers above these guys, they're all spread out, so have to look a bit further down if you want side-by-side battling, but the championship is still on the line. Rony had that lap where he needed to pit. I think it was lap 2 he needed to pit, so now he's making up some places, but he may see South struggling in front of him, so we'll keep an eye out on that.
Indeed. As it stands, Gabor will win the title. He has the second fastest lap of the race so far, and the points are such that if he finishes where he is at the moment, he is going to take the win overall away from Ricciardo by a solitary point. Altsu P3. Anyone else in this race, if they can catch up to Gabor and pass him, will affect the outcome of this race now. But at the moment, it's just between those two. There is a 3.2 second gap between Altsu and his teammates ahead. And that is all the buffer that Gabor needs. Ricciardo currently, Owen, is doing everything he can. There is nothing more he can do. He has the fastest lap and he is away. But he'll just be wishing he had pole.
Yeah, that's the regret now. That pole position, I potentially tempted fate by saying that single point could make all the difference.
Well, it would have done. I mean, if Ricciardo had been four hundredths of a second faster in qualifying, He'd have won the championship if it currently finishes the way it is.
Yeah, we won't be 100% sure of the outcome just yet. More lap traffic getting out of the way of our race leader. Yeah, he's doing everything he can. Tempting fate with those tires just a little bit, but no problem. We'll see what Gabor can do. Yeah, he's very aggressively, but cleanly through that final chicane as well. Rick had a much better lap time. Yeah, another half a second gain for Rick.
Off camera, Number has slipped past Texas and is up to P7. Happened somewhere on the lap we just did. And so Number is making gains. We've got a car rejoining from the pit lane. That's magic. There he is.
Yeah, and South has pitted as well. He was easy pickings for Rony in 24th. Yeah, we just see just a duel of the lap times really. Gabor is not close enough to Rick. He has gained a little, and he's lost about 6 or 4 hundredths in that sector. So it looks like Gabor cannot quite equal Rick in this quarter of the race. Arska, though, just outside the top 5. He's got to contend with Number very soon. So Number having a good time in these last few laps.
Yeah, absolutely. Number is on good pace. He's 1.5 seconds behind Oscar and seems to be cutting that gap down all the time as we ride on his his roof. Very, very low car this, so it doesn't really seem like a roof, but we are riding on his roof as he will break down into the final hairpin. As Oscar ahead, as you see, goes very, very wide and giving up a lot of time there. Number will see that and think, well, I'll be making a move for P6 very soon.
Yeah, Number looking pretty competitive now that he has the clean air. Yeah, just see how things go. Texas can only sit and watch, having lost that position. Let's see the 10th position between the lime green and the more emerald green. Here goes Falcon. Can he get the job done in time? Yeah, he's not going to give back any slipstream. That is Falcon ahead.
Yeah, he's through, and he played that very well. He stopped Igor, his teammate, from getting back in the slipstream. Igor running very, very close here and may have a chance. No, I don't think he's going to have a chance at the return. Just a little bit too far back, potentially, for any slipstream battles into turn 4. A nice move, that. Textbook move from Falcon.
Yeah, solid move.
Yannick Tiller is lining up Elias here down the home straight, moves to the right hand side. Elias is going to have to squeeze Yari over if he wants to maintain any sort of momentum here. But somehow Elias, with straight line speed, managing to stay ahead, so that was a bit unusual.
Yeah, it was a good play from Elias. It's another case where the driver behind they desired to be a bit closer to get that slipstream, but it wasn't possible. You have to be wary of that first braking zone and the racing line as well. So that was no doubt in Yari's mind.
Here, Owen. Oh, Gabor's got the fastest lap. He's cementing this championship now. If he can keep this fastest lap, there is no question that he has it in the bag. It switched from Rick Cardle's hands to Gabor's, and at a crucial moment, Rick Cardle will be slamming his hands against his wheel now. He needs to get that fastest lap back. We're going to take a look here at Number and Asker, who've gone side by side up the home straight. Number has managed to swing past. Asker must have been really slow at the end of that lap. He wasn't too close to Number, but Number now into P6 at turn 1. Nice move. Asker has no chance of a return here. He's not close enough, so Number making up places. But Gabor, fastest lap of the race, just when he needed it, Owen.
Yeah, it's a fairly good time to take it away. But Rick, if he was expecting to lose that fastest lap and he has something left in the reserves, he's got to just probably hang on a bit further. If he gives away his ace move, in the next 2 laps, then maybe Gabor can respond. So it's a real strategy now for Rick. When will he attempt that fastest lap? He's got no choice. He simply needs to do it.
Yeah, he has to hot lap it. He has to do a hot lap. He's eking out time over Gabor, but he's lost the fastest lap. It's unbelievable. The gap's now 4 seconds, but the fastest lap isn't Rick's. So let's see what he manages now. He's had a pretty good lap. Let's see if he can get it back on this attempt. Across start finish he comes. He's not fast enough. He's got 4 laps to go.
Yeah, the pressure a little bit on now, but let's check out the race green teammates. Igor. Sorry, that's Falcon and Igor. Excuse me, Falcon for race green and Igor Roda Preza. Yeah, it just feels like they're teammates with similar colours. Igor ahead for the moment, takes a lot of curb before the final turn in, and actually he's gained a lot breathing room there all of a sudden. They were neck and neck just a moment ago, and even 3 jump can see them, and maybe Lorenzo as well. So yeah, we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, nice to see that some drivers still finding battles amongst themselves on track, but the battle at the front is purely psychological now. Rick Cardle has everything to do, and he has to pray that Gabor either makes a mistake or Altsu can find pace and disrupt his teammates' flow. But we are running out of laps, just 3.5 laps to go in this one before we can crown our Season 2 champion. And right now, as it stands, that is going to be Gabor. He leads in the standings, got pole. He has the fastest lap in the race in P2 with Rick Cardle in P1. That is enough for him.
It is enough. He'll want to be absolutely determined in his mind to make sure he's done it before you can see the checkered flag. So he can be absolutely sure he can begin to soak it in. But let's look now for the Mooley and 3 jump. This is for 13th position, looking behind from the Mooley. He's ahead so far, but the slipstream up the hill is going to make its impact. Inside line defense for the Mooley, or he stays middle to put 3 jump on the outside. Can he cut back? No, he can't. You got right onto the curbs and no success. So good pull away there. We'll see if the Zeta Farrell car can maintain it and keep that advantage. Yeah, it looks like he has.
Yeah, he has, and he's got a good enough gap now to defend anything that comes his way. Before we run out of laps, as you alluded to before, Owen, I want to give a shout out to a couple of people who've made this year possible. The first person is on screen right now in a livery that is obviously the one and only Rony. He's put together the RTFR Championship for a huge number of years now. This is the 296th bi-weekly Rony's Tuesday fun race. And if you do the maths, that is a lot of years. We will be celebrating the 300th RTFR in 2023, very early in 2023. And it's all thanks to this guy. He's done an enormous amount of work running an incredible number of series in LFS throughout the years. And could not finish this race without saying that. And the second person we need to say thank you to is Jari Katila, him and his team sponsoring the RTFR Championship very generously again this year. And we cannot race this series, we cannot enjoy this series to its fullest without Jari, who stumps up the sponsorship for the prize money and the broadcasts. So thank you very much to Jari and the World Class Lions team.
Gabor increases that fastest lap threshold by a little bit more, 1 minute 40.45. And actually for Rick, he's had to lap Ioni SVK and possibly another car that would be south. Or no, it wouldn't be. Sorry, not sure exactly who he has to lap. So yeah, that might impede Rick's attempts to prepare a last dash. It's actually LG Meese he's got to lap. LG Meese will see the blue flags now, and he'll let him by here, so that's fine.
Yeah, this is disaster. The gap is going up and up and up. What Gabor's doing, I think, is he's maybe letting off for a lap, maybe, or he just pulls a lap out of the bag that's just enough to take the fastest lap away, but still dropping back in pace. Again, another 0.03 of a second in the favour of Rick Cardle in that sector alone. but he's not tying the sectors together to get the fastest lap he needs to stay in the hunt. It does look like Gabor, he's got a 4-second buffer now back to his teammate Altsu. And it doesn't look like, unless Gabor falls off on his own, that Ricciardo can do anything, even if he gets the fastest lap. But you know what? He's got to try. He's got to try and do it, Owen.
Yeah, it's literally the last throw in this season 2 of RTF4. Let's bring the show down. A 1 minute 44.2. Wow, that's taking it straight back. So,
but Gabor.
Oh, well.
For the smallest amount of time, Ricciardo had the fastest lap of the race, but Gabor takes it back. We only have one more opportunity to see which way that dice is going to roll. Ricciardo did not have a good exit onto the home straight. There was a lot of dust being thrown up. The car was pretty unsettled. So he is going to have the bit between his teeth, and he's going to be gunning for this, because this is really the last opportunity he's got. He's got to pray that Gabor makes a mistake as well. Because as it stands, and even if Ricciardo gets the fastest lap, as it stands, Gabor will have done enough by 1 point. Currently, it's enough by 2 points. But let's just keep an eye on this for the final lap. We've got a battle actually on between 3Jump and Jonathan Pickard as we head on to the final lap for these guys. Jonathan Pickard flashing his lights at 3Jump. These two go way back. Veterans of Live for Speed, both of these guys. And we've got wow, look at this. We've got a three-way fight between Unite, Luke, and Michael Malik. And Unite's trying to squeeze it up the inside. He's not going to manage that, surely. No, he's not. But we need to turn our attention back, Owen, to this man, Ricciardo.
This is it for Rick now. His championship bid will end if Gabor crosses the line as things stands. Here we go. Big push. One last throw at this race, but he will be victorious to complete season 2 in 2022. A 1 minute 40.39 to tie fastest lap. They've tied fastest lap. Well, what do we do here now?
I have absolutely no idea what happens in the event of a tied fastest lap. I believe it goes the way of Gabor because Gabor did it first.
Yeah, Gabor did it first.
Ricciardo will have the second fastest lap, but that's unbelievable. In the end, they will be separated by 2 points, but it is Gabor who will be, we think, here in the commentary box, the Season 2 champion of RTFR in 2022. Unbelievable finish there. Altsu P3, PJ P4, Anti-Valter P5, number coming across the line in P6 with a nice recovery drive. He put on a few nice overtakes during that race. Asker P7, Texas from Master Race Car P8, Pekka Koivunen in P9, and Igor the top 10. But goodness me, Ricciardo setting that equal joint fastest lap on the final possible attempt. But Gabor got it first, so Gabor gets the points. It's as simple as that.
There's going to be a photo finish there. Michael has lost to Unite there. That's incredible. I thought they would have been equal. So we have to summarize things. So the two teammates, they probably have an equal argument to say that they deserve to be on the final podium. They have passed it. They have to turn around in order to get to it. So hopefully they have enough fuel to make it. Yeah, they're much further than they need to be to make their podium. Yeah, that's an extraordinary finish. It's a shame that the title wasn't decided at the very last minute. It was a case where Gabor had enough in the tank to do it.
Yeah, I mean, what a season, what a confusing final race. But Gabor is our Season 2 champion. Narcis Lagutskas won Season 1. Fatal was second. And this time out in Season 2, Gabor wins the championship. P2 today, but Ricciardo will take P2 in the championship. Unite should stay third. Very, very nice. And it is, again, a Sidus championship win. Very, very well deserved. They're going to have to try and find the podium, though. The podium area is... did you say it was a fair way around the lap, Owen? Or?
No, it's just where the runoff area is at this straight, like just the middle of the the start-finish straight here. So Gabor needs to keep going a little bit further.
He wants to do his donuts first. That's fair enough. He can do his donuts. We'll allow him that. He's going to do his donuts on the home straight for us. Pretty much in the same style as his idol, Sebastian Vettel would.
Yeah, he's going to get 2 flat tires. Yeah, he's already got the tires flat. So that'll be the objective complete there. So he just needs to go to the Michelin Bridge. I think that's where he needs to go, the Michelin Bridge, to find that podium.
Does indeed. But while he's doing that, let's give you the full final standings for the race we just watched. Ricciardo in 32 minutes and 2 seconds wins, with Gabor, his teammate, behind, and Outsu in P3. A Sidus podium once again. This is not the first time we've seen this year. But nevertheless, it's a great effort. And, you know, Sidus, at some point, someone's got to come along and dethrone Sidus. Who's it going to be? Is it going to happen in 2023? We will be here to watch and see what happens. But it's TJ in P4 for Road Appraiser. Best of the rest with Anti-Valter in P5. Number for Frag Masters in P. World Class Science Pekka Koivunen in P9. And Road Appraiser Igor in P10. Then we've got the Race Queen teammates Falcon and Lorenzo P11 and 12. The Mooley for ZFRL. Jonathan Pickard, after a pretty exciting opening few laps there, Owen, he drops down to P14 and a bit of a recovery and battling with 3 jump right until the end. 3 jump in P15. Luke for Road Appraiser P16. Unite, disappointing there in P17. Takes P3 in the championship overall. Master Race Cars Michael Malik in P18. Soini for World Class Lines in P19. And Elias in P20.
There were 2 more drivers who completed the race on the lead lap. They were Jari Katila in 21st, Rony in 22nd, LG Mies, Magic, Tallenberg, South, Johnny SVK. They were lapped on track. Fatal had that incident, so he reset and finished 3 laps down. Then T-Bug was the last car to actually cross the line, but he's 8 laps down. Then Richard did not actually see the finish line and 29th, but he will be classified ahead of T-Bug. Nossel, Genuine Racing's Mouse, Caramba, Tom, Jarmelo, Owner, and Justin all failed to finish.
Yeah, and that's that in 2022. Gabor doesn't look like he's going to make it to the podium, so we are going to have to wrap up there, Owen, and cap off what has been a truly brilliant season of RTFR once again. Ricciardo is aloft our podium tonight, of course, but Gabor, I'm sure he would want to stand on the top step to cap it all off. We can't take anything away from Ricciardo. The only thing he didn't manage to secure today, which would have swayed things in his favour, was doing the fastest lap 1 lap earlier, and driving 400ths of a second quicker in qualifying. That's how close the margins were.
Goodness me.
400ths of a second, essentially, is what separated him from the championship win today. In fact, I suppose you could say 500ths of a second, because he just needed to be that 100th faster in the race. Such close margins from a very, very talented group of drivers, the Sidus team there. And that is that. Yeah,
that is that. We'll see if everyone's raring to go for the new year and 2023, but it's been an absolutely incredible season, from even the season 1 starting point in January through to the summer, now to the conclusion in the winter time. So yeah, it's been great. I hope everyone enjoyed it, and indeed thank you very much to yourself, Pete, and Chris in the liaison position. You've made these broadcasts very, very enticing and wonderful to do each time, so I really appreciate it. Thanks very much.
Yeah, I echo that, Owen. It's been a pleasure to do it with you too, and I hope we can carry on doing it into the new year. We'll have to have talks with Rony, of course, before we can confirm anything. But yeah, speaking of which, we will be having our 2023 preview show in a few days' time. We're going to have full details on that after Thursday's Fragmasters GTI Thursday broadcast, when we will be crowning the champion of that season as well. Because it's the end of the year, it's when all the seasons finish, it's when we crown all of the champions. We have FM GTI Thursday this Thursday for the 50th round of 2022, and it's going to be with both cars at Kyoto National. So another fantastic track with a group of fantastic cars. And who's it going to be on the top step of the season championship there, I wonder? Well, you'll have to tune in 2 days' time with Zdravko and myself to find out. Owen, Chris, it's been a pleasure as always. Thanks again to Rony for organising the RTFR series. This is the last RTFR action of 2022 on our channel. And of course, thanks to Yari Katila and the WCL team for sponsoring it. Once again, we really, really appreciate their support. Without them, it could not happen. And of course, it could not happen without our fantastic crowd of drivers who turn up and compete in this series 3 times a month. Eoin, we cannot do this without them.
No, that's absolutely correct. Yeah, a really formidable effort to keep these races very welcoming and also rewarding, to have the sponsorship and the admin work that the guys do. It really means a lot to me that we can see these races bi-weekly. So yeah, thanks very much to those guys as well.
Tune in on Thursday for the GTI Thursday finale. That's all from us at Sim Broadcast. We hope you have a fantastic rest of your evening, and we will see you at the next one. From Chris, Eoin, and I in the commentary box, that's us signing out for RTFR for 2022. Have a good one, and good night. Congrats to Gabor, of course, and the Sidus team for their victory.
Yeah, congratulations, and goodbye for now. Enjoy the holiday season.
Rony's Tuesday Funrace 2022 signing off. Good night.